a mere man.
Yes. Right.
It was Jesus, the one that did it. He says, tell you, he says, was killing our churches.
Yes.
He says because our street teams are too small. So he told me to say.
Yes.
He said you can fill up choir stands, Mustafa.
Yes.
You can fill up ministry, usher boards, and this board, and that board. He said, but when it comes to the evangelist board, you only get a few. And he said, that's killing the church.
Wow.
He said, it's killing the church. Are y'all listening to me?
Yes.
The biggest thing that should be in the church is a street team,
Yes.
evangelist team, a witness team.
Yes.
Because Paul indicated to Timothy, you are always to do the work of an evangelist.
Yes.
Come on.
Wow.
Everybody is supposed to do the work of an evangelist.
Yes, sir.
But the problem with we got it in our mind frame that the only person that's supposed to preach is those that hold a title. So you think the only person supposed to preach is the ones they call pastor,
Yes.
or evangelist,
Yes.
or prophet, or deacon. Are y'all listening to
Yes.
me? He says, but no. Now I have called some out that they may lead and they may feed those, but everybody's been called to preach. Because all preaching is just proclaiming. What I mean, it has nothing to do with a collar. It has nothing to do with no uniform. It has nothing to do with a title. It's about your mouth.
Wow.
Good God Almighty.
Thank you.
He says, and tell them they may not be able to exegete in Hebrew or Greek. They might not understand the words, the names of God or the Torah. They might not understand none of that. He said, and that's okay. Even though you got to study a little bit more, but he said, but that's okay. He said, because there's one thing they do understand. They understand where they were when I met them.
Yes.
And they understand how I impacted their life. Everybody that says they're saved, their life has been rocked.
Oh, yeah.
You're not really saved if your life, Jesus ain't rocked your life. Jesus ain't turned your life around.
Come on.
Listening to me. Jesus ain't snatched you out. He said, tell them they know what I did. They know they wasn't nothing when I met them.
Yes.
They were drunkards, they were whoremongers, they were fornicators, they were homosexuals, they were drug addicts, they were alcoholics, they were thieves, they were criminals, they were con artists, they were crooks, and I'm the one that changed.
Jesus. Thank you,
See,
Lord.
that's the problem with the church. We act like we got it all together when people walk in struggling and they walk into this establishment and we act like we got it all together. Look at Big Me, look at Big. And what you're doing is you're intimidating sinners.
Right.
Lord have mercy.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
Because how can I be like you when I'm fighting hell at home? That's all, Mike. But you got to tell them, I fought hell too. I made it. By the grace of God. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? Oh, hallelujah. He said, tell them what you are after. He said, tell you, if you don't know it with a title, preachers. He said, title your sermon, he snatched me out. I can't lean on that. But I just want to tell somebody, he snatched me out. In other words, there were some places that I wanted to be. There's some things we didn't want God to deliver us from.
Keep it real.
Right? Oh, hallelujah. But he just snatched me out.
Out of the enemy.
He snatched me out the game. He snatched me out the jail.
Yes, sir.
Tell somebody he snatched me out.
Snatch me out.
He snatched me out. Some of us went out kicking and screaming. Some of us went out yelling and fighting.
Yes.
But he brought us out.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Holy Ghost.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
Paul is writing in our text to the church of Rome. The Apostle Paul. Apostle means one to see Jesus in the flesh.
Yes, sir.
Or one to be sent by Jesus to perform a specific mission. Understand that God changed Paul on the road to Damascus.
Yes.
And he sent Paul to build the Gentile church.
Yes, he did.
Paul is the one that wrote the majority of the New Testament. Out of all the books, Paul wrote 13 of them, and some believe 14, which is the book of Hebrews. He wrote the majority of the New Testament because the majority of the New Testament was written to Gentile people. It wasn't written per se to Jews. It was written to everybody, because all must confess Jesus. But he was building what we call this thing the church. The ecclesia. It was Paul that established the church of Rome, the church of Ephesus, the church of Corinth, the church of Ephesians. There was Paul, the church of Philippi. It was Paul that went on a mission, preaching everywhere, calling people out. Good God Almighty.
Thank you.
That's what the church does. It calls, and somebody goes to start to promote. Come out, come out, come out, come out, come out, come out, come out.
Yeah.
And then here they come.
That's right.
He says, my sheep know my
Voice.
So all you got to do is go to the crack, the corner and say, come out, come out, come out, come out, come out. They all may not come out, but whoever's in that crack house is Jesus.
Oh, yes.
Because he says, my sheep.
Know your voice.
So Paul has preached to all these people. He's been sent to build a Gentile church, which makes him an apostle. But he starts off saying, even though I'm preaching to everybody else and I'm preaching to people that are not of my ethnicity, he says, my prayer for my own is that they be saved too.
That's right. Amen.
Even though I'm preaching to you and some of you are not my biological family,
Amen.
yes, sir, I really want my family to be saved.
Yes, yes.
What's good is it to preach to strangers in your own parish. Are y'all listening to me?
Sir.
That's why the first place that ministry starts, it starts at home. Because what good is it to go out and give a city to repent and my kids are going to hell?
My God.
Woo, Lord have mercy.
Good God Almighty. So he says, I want Israel to be saved. Yes, I'm making sure Rome is saved. And yes, I'm making sure Ephesus is saved. And yes, I'm preaching all that. But when I think about my own, he said, I want my own to be saved.
Yes.
One of your missions in preaching is to your own people.
That's good.
Your own family. If you're going to preach to anybody, if you're going to help anybody, minister to your own.
That's right.
Are y'all listening to me?
Yeah.
He said, but the problem with my own is that they're zealous for God, but it's not according to the knowledge.
Okay.
They're zealous, but they're ignorant. And my people perish from a lack of
Knowledge.
They go to church, but they don't know why.
Deep.
Are y'all listening to me? They say amen, but they don't study. They can be misled because they don't know. They're zealous, but they don't know.
Amen.
He said, and because they don't know, they made up their own righteousness.
Wow.
They made their own traditions. They made their own doctrines. They made their own way. Because they don't really follow the way, nor know the way. They do what's right in their eyes. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end is death. If it's not according to the scriptures, according to the precepts, it's wrong.
That's good, Pastor.
Good God, I don't care if we wear white gloves, collars, or no collars, because really none of that is biblical.
That's it.
Are y'all listening to this?
Good teacher.
That's man's tradition. You can do it, but if you don't do it, it ain't gonna put you in hell.
Say that.
That's good teaching, everyone.
And when I thought about this, I said, Lord, maybe they made their own is because you became too common to them. Because we are talking about the Jews and the Hebrews and the people that know the customs of the law. They know the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Feast of Weeks and the Passover Feast. And they are what God called his chosen people. And they're the one that God brought out of Egypt. And they're the one, y'all listen, brought us to Canaan. And they're the one that God gave everything to. And he made frogs and this and that happen all on behalf of the people. Maybe they got too comfortable with you, Lord. Maybe you're spoiled.
Amen. I can say amen.
Maybe you've been so good that they start trying to make their own way.
Very good. True.
Don't make God common, brothers and sisters.
Amen.
See, that's the difference between the sinner that just he converted to the one that been in church for a minute. The difference is God is new to them, but God has become common to you. So you think about, should you go to church? You wake up and say, is this something I should do? Understanding that the presence of God is supposed to be in this place. You're supposed to run to it.
Yes.
Amen.
You're supposed to think about it come tomorrow. Are y'all listening to me? Because you understand that God is everything. That God is the source of your blessings. That God is the strength of your life. Maybe he blessed you so good that you became spoiled. And you complain while you're driving new cars. You complain while all your bills is paid. You complain with a refrigerator full of food. You complain with all these clothes on your back. You complain while God is still working miracles. Come on, working miracles. Working miracles. And you're looking at all God's stuff saying it ain't enough. Teach.
Well. Read it.
My God.
Help us, Lord.
But like the one that just came off the street, they just glad to be there.
Whoa!
That's it.
Good God Almighty. And maybe that's what's wrong with these people. They're spoiled. That's what's wrong with the Church of America.
Amen.
It's spoiled.
Excellent teaching.
We done got used to carpets and padded seats and air conditioners and you gotta sing at this time and they gotta pray at this time and they gotta pray at that time, and if something seems off we say we didn't have church, but there's churches in other countries that they have to find themselves in holes to praise Jesus, because if anybody finds out that they're worshiping Jesus, they're going to get their head blown off. But you're still thinking, should you come to church?
My God.
Come on.
Make it
What's going to
plain.
happen when coming to church is added up to, are you going to live or die? Because we are going that direction.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if somebody says, well, if you claim and preach Jesus, I'm going to blow your head off? Are you still going to open your mouth and say, God, well, it's already happening in other countries.
Blessed.
We have many martyrs in other countries that got burned alive. One of our pictures that we want to use refused to bow when you had a bunch of Christians on the shores of the beach and they got their heads cut off.
That's right. That's right.
Don't become spoiled
Amen.
That's good.
by God complaining about cable bills when you're supposed to be preaching saving souls.
Wow, Pastor.
Hallelujah.
It's my problem is that they found out and they're trying to make it to God by their own way. That's good. Instead of going through the way. Are y'all listening to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem. And I'm going to tell you, it's harder to penetrate a traditional spirit than anything.
That's true. That's true.
God says his word is like a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
He said, earth and heaven shall pass away, but my word shall remain forever.
That's so good.
He said, the word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. He said, the word has so much power that it can go in and heal the very moral of your bones.
Thank you,
Y'all
Lord.
listening to me? He said, the word. He said, but there's one thing that the word cannot penetrate.
Tradition.
Man's tradition. Man's tradition make my word of no effect. Good God Almighty.
Good word.
That's good. Yes. He says, I'm talking to a bunch of people that all they do is traditional acts.
Good. Woo.
They know how to shout when it's time to shout. They know how to come to church when it's time to come. They have a form of godliness, but they have no power.
No power. None.
They can't change nothing.
Jesus.
Good God Almighty.
My God.
My goodness.
And they look good. They go to part. They dressed up like it. But there's no power to it. Why would your kids want to follow something that have no power?
Amen. Hallelujah.
You show them that it has nothing. It's just something you do. As though we can go golfing today. We can go to a country club today. There's a lot of gatherings happening today. And the difference between this house